Hi, today I thought we're going to have a look at doing something with this cutting of one of my big Chinese elms that I took last year. As you can see, it's growing pretty strongly, but it's a bit of an awkward shape. There's a big thick branch coming out of the bottom here, as you can see that, and the roots are actually underneath this main piece here. So I could possibly just take that off and concentrate on growing this, but I found a piece of deadwood that I had lying around, so I thought I'll see if I can create a bit of a wraparound or tanuki with that piece. I've polished and adjusted this piece of deadwood slightly to accommodate the plant, and I now will have to cut the channels to receive the various branches that will make up the bulk of the trunk. I've started cutting the preliminary channels now. These are the way that these branches will be running along this piece of deadwood, with the main branch coming along here and up to the top. Now I've made sure to follow the natural growth pattern that this wood shows, so that the final tree looks realistic against the deadwood. Now the channels were cut with this small rotary cutting tool here, and what I'm going to do next is use a small round head cutter to just smooth out the edges and slightly undercut the edges, so as the tree and the branches expand within the channels, they're wedged in and then forced to grow over the sides of the channel and tie tightly into the deadwood. So excuse for the noise. Those channels have been smoothed out. They're slightly deeper now, and I might still need to adjust these slightly depending on the thickness of the branches that be running in them, but they're in the correct positions now. Is the way these branches will follow and then actually grow out from there. I'm now going to go and see if I can. So as you can see, I've now approximated the tree to the deadwood. I've fed some of the branches through some of the openings in the trunk, as you can see, and these will now be fed along the channels, removing the leaves as we go, and they will then be tied into those channels. The main trunk, as you can see, sits in a hollow at the back, and again will be fed along the channel that's been cut for it to follow this tree around. The branches have now been pushed into the channels that I've cut for them, and I've temporarily secured them with some electrical tabs here just to hold them in place. Now I'm going to wrap the tree in this self-vulcanizing rubber tape, which will force the branches to spread the trunks to spread sideways rather than growing outwards. Will help to tie them into the structure. This pot, it's been filled with a very free draining mix of akadama and baked molar clay. As you can see, I've wired lightly the branches that I want to grow into a certain direction, and here you can see how this branch runs in the channel. Now as the branch grows, it will fill that channel, then spill over the edge and tie into the structure. Now the tree will now be allowed to grow freely, certainly for this growing season, maybe for two. And I'll be checking back to see how the structure is holding, and will then be refining this tree with further branching, further wiring, and maybe a little bit of carving on the deadwood to just give a little bit more character. So I hope you've enjoyed that. Maybe it's given you some inspiration, and as I said, thanks for watching, and keep coming back. There'll still be more to come. Thank you. Goodbye.